right, man. Here we go. We are back at it. Wednesday night, just past 9 p.m. You are tuned in to Guerilla Cross Radio. Your home for 24/7 positive hip-hop, music culture, and of course, sports as well. I am your host, Jose V, and this is another episode of Straight Bet Sports. We're coming to you live from the sports and entertainment capital of the world, none other than Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to the people in the studio with me today. To my left, my boy Rob G. Right in front of me, my guest for tonight, Dwayne Colucci from Rampart Sportsbook Casino. Greatly appreciate both of you being in the studio. And of course, the man behind the wheels of steel, making sure that everything runs right and gets us on all social media. Quan59, greatly appreciate you doing what you do as always. Now tonight, we got a good show on tap for you guys tonight. Just want to let you guys know what we're about, what we're going to be talking about. The name of the show is called Straight Bet Sports, obviously. We're going to mix in a little bit of sports talk, sports betting conversation, and just sports talk conversation all around in general. We are going to get off topic from time to time. That's just things that you do when you talk. We might get away from the sports, but we're also going to try to stick to it as much as possible. Now, got to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors, because if it wasn't for our sponsors, we would not be here today. So without further ado, we are brought to you by Joshua Lafond with Simply Vegas Real Estate, a realtor here to help educate current and future Vegas locals on selling and investing in real estate. You're probably asking yourself, educate? Yes, there's an amount of adults that, when it comes to real estate, don't know the right questions to ask, don't know where to start, and think they need a lot of cash just to buy a house in Nevada, which simply is not true. So Josh has dedicated himself and made it his responsibility to teach his clients what they need to know, and equally more important, what they need to ask to help ensure making their home ownership dreams a reality. So make sure you call or text Joshua Lafond today at 702-813-0533. Once again, this has been a paid advertisement from Joshua Lafond with Simply Vegas Real Estate. Hit him up, 702-813-0533. Now, fellas, thank you so much for joining me in the studio. Crazy times we got going on out there. I totally understand. It feels like this year has never even gotten started. Very briefly, it's been talking about a lot. It's all over the airwaves, so I do want to talk about it. With all due respect, George Floyd, rest in peace to his family, his daughter, and everybody that's mourning. I hope all this gets right when it should. It hasn't been right for a very long time. I don't like what I'm seeing right now. And it's tough, and it's tough times, but hopefully we get better, and hopefully we can move forward with Nevada opening up, our country opening up in general. Not trying to throw shade to what's going on, so I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. But we also got to move forward with normality and talk about things that's going on in life and just things that we're going to talk about in general. Now, this show overall, it's going to be brought to you by every Wednesday at 9 p.m. here on Guerilla Cross Radio. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start off with our first guest of the night, Dwayne Colucci, brand new recently promoted race and sportsbook manager from Rampart Casino. Dwayne, thank you for joining us. What's going on, my brother?
Thanks for having me, Jose. I really appreciate it. And thanks. New race and sports manager out at the Rampart. Feels good to be number one. And we have a beautiful property. And it's really a pleasure and, just great to be back into the casino. Last week, I started to get back into the flow. And, hopefully everything will go smooth with the reopening of Las Vegas. Like you said, very touching and trying times right now. It doesn't matter if it's Corona, what happened to Mr. Floyd, just terrible. We just want to try to move on, like you said.
Yeah.
And that would be the best thing for especially a city like Las Vegas, because we're a family city.
Definitely.
Everybody is together. We're always arm in arm. So Las Vegas really needs to get back going just so we could have that vibe and that atmosphere.
And like you say, we're small, but we're big at the same time is how I like to look at it when it comes to a city. So we're all close, and we got to stay close, and we got to help each other out. But before we get into the sports betting stuff and the sports talk and all that, how has the coronavirus situation affected you, your family, your personal life, more than anything, away from your work life?
Well, the whole thing with first of all, the work life, not having it. The personal life then fell into place because now I'm spending a lot more family time, which was great. Getting a lot more done around the house, certain things, hobbies, projects. But at the same time, you're trying to stay safe and social distancing. So you're not going out as often. I'm not seeing my friends. And being the race and sports manager, which I've been in the industry for 17 years, cutting out that social contact, That's my whole life. I mean, I'm like a host. I'm on the floor. I'm, wheeling and
I've worked with you.
dealing.
I know.
Yeah,
You're everywhere, bro. Definitely.
And it's just taking that out. It was such a shock. And then getting into the transition of normal life without your job. It's difficult. I'm going to be honest with you. But it was great to spend so much family time, cook a lot more. Focus on.
I've seen some of your pictures and stuff, man.
Yeah,
Cooking with
I
your
love
pops
my
and
food.
stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
Italian, Jose.
Of
We
course.
love our food. So,
Definitely.
it was just a learning experience and an experience that we will never probably face again. It's just a life experience that these are times now that are unprecedented right now.
What would you say is some of the biggest things that you've done differently at home that you haven't done, or maybe something new that you started doing?
I tell you the truth, staying in a lot.
Yeah.
Just being home a lot was a lot different. And, doing some yard work. I got to focus on my fish tanks. I like certain hobbies and horse racing. I mean, I'm just a fanatic with horse racing. So I really got to focus on reading the racing form, gathering information, doing work for some publications and other things. And, I kept myself preoccupied with that in the sports world because, horse racing, no matter what you think, is a sport.
Definitely.
And they were able to overcome the COVID virus, guys. So that was just huge, that they were continuing on and growing their industry. And that was a dying industry, Jose. I mean, millennials are not into horse racing.
No, it's all sports
Younger
now.
people, right. I'm about to cut off. I'm going to be 48. I'm about to cut off. There's very few younger people that are into horse racing. So, I tried to promote that. We're going to try and get that off the ground now at the Rampart. So I got to focus on a lot of handicapping and, sharpening my skills.
So what are some of the things you were doing? Because you just mentioned you jumped on other shows. You were doing some work with some publications.
I do some work with VEASAN. I do work with Ron Flatter. He's definitely a big-time horse racing guy, as well as Dave Tooley. He worked for the Daily Racing Forum, Gaming Today, the RJ. So, I'm working with these guys, and I'm on the VEASAN Tooley's Thoroughbred Takes every day.
Okay,
I
nice.
give out my selections, whether it's Santa Anita, Churchill Downs, now Belmont Open.
Correct,
And,
Belmont did open.
Yeah, and we do a few podcasts as well. And, I do spots on VEASAN still. So we're just trying to get the word out like you are, Jose. And I appreciate all that exposure and just, bringing it all to Vegas.
Of course.
We're the king here. This is where it all started, and this is where it will continue. You have other states now that are branching off, but Vegas is the original, sports betting capital.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So other states that are betting now, that are legal, that have come into that prior to this whole coronavirus pandemic, how has that affected sports betting in Las Vegas? Have you seen a difference in the handle or the traffic or just people in general?
Well, actually, the handle at first, Jose, increased.
Really?
Just because everybody was now, oh, wow, I could bet in New York, I could bet in Jersey, I could bet here, I could bet in Philly, just examples. But they still want to come to Vegas, and they want to see how it is here as well. And it started to attract ladies that started to gamble, older people, the Vegas Golden Knights now. Now we start to see a lot more action.
We have the
hockey.
local team, yeah.
NHL was a minuscule handle, and now it's one of my top handles when the Vegas Knights are rolling. So
it's gone up substantially.
Right, exactly. It has gone up. Even though you would think it would take a hit because people don't want to commute to Vegas, there's only one Las Vegas. There's only one strip. You could only bet on your laptop or your handheld as much. Right.
Yeah.
You want that casino experience. So Vegas is still, we got the drink tickets, we got the hot dog carts, we got the comps.
Man.
You can't really get that vibe betting on an app in New Jersey or in Philadelphia. I know they have casinos, but, I got to prop Vegas up. And, I work for gentlemen that are at the South Point, Chris Andrews, Jimmy Vaccaro, Vinny Maiulo. These guys started making lines. They built Caesar's Palace, the Mirage, Chris Andrews up in Reno. These are reputable bookmakers. And, it's just good to see these guys, press the palms with them, talk, have good experiences. And only Vegas could provide that.
Now, with betting, especially with everything that was going on, the only thing that we really had was horse racing, if you're a horse better, and then the KBO, the Korean Baseball League came out.
Yeah, we didn't even take that. Michael Gaughan Sr., he owns the South Point, and Chris Andrews consulted with him. And as far as that and the table tennis, we were a little leary, so we really didn't put that up. Yeah, I mean, William Hill was putting up anything.
You have to bet what you can bet on, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you saw guys were popping, big $5,000-$6,000 parlays on table tennis.
Definitely.
So, when you expose yourself to sporting events that you really don't know much about. As a bookmaker, it's difficult to make a line. There's a sharp guy for every sporting event there is, whether it's tennis, soccer. I don't care if it's Little League Baseball. They're going to punch your lights out if you don't put up a good line. Jose.
So wait a minute. You're telling
I'm
me,
just saying.
You're telling me that you have sharps that are betting on anything from table tennis to whatever they can get their hands on to try to move lines or what?
I just think that they know and they follow certain things and certain streaks or what have you, and that's why you were seeing them pop big parlays. They had to know something, Jose. You know, it's one thing to put in a wrong wager. I did see one of those on social media, and
get
look,
lucky.
I won $1,500. It's another thing to put in a $600 four-leg parlay on, three guys. Four guys that you don't even know playing table tennis. I mean, this isn't Rafael Nadal or Djokovic.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I can make easy lines for that, but, you get some of these other sports, it's difficult.
Now, you yourself being a bettor, away from the work and, being there at work, what were you betting on and how were you getting your bets done? If so, if you can give me some of that information, what is it that you were doing to keep yourself occupied with some bets during this time?
Well, I was doing mostly the handicapping point of view because you really can't mobile app wager in Nevada legally.
Okay.
Betting across state lines is not promoted.
Gotcha.
Me as a bookmaker, I'm not going to go down that avenue.
Definitely.
So there was really no betting for me. I was just doing most of the handicapping and producing, a lot of good winners.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of your picks were
I hit
winning
that
picks.
pick 5 at Churchill Downs, the All Stakes pick 5 with the Matt Wynn. I was very successful this weekend
How
at
much did that
Santa
pay you out?
Anita.
Or would have paid out? I'm sorry.
I believe it paid $400 and change.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
And I gave out two variations of tickets. One costed $72. So I made a nice little profit there. And then I had a horse over the weekend that paid $10 at Santa Anita for every two you bet. So, I dabble in everything. I'll give you a pick 4. I'll give you a win bet. But, I was just sharpening my handicapping skills. And, very difficult to get a wager down. Nobody had their mobile app up for horse racing.
Got it.
None of the casinos in town. We did have our sports up, though, you could bet on sports, right? But it was so limited. UFC, I did dabble in a little, some of the name people that I know. And, soccer game here and there, but not much.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Now, sticking to the horse part of it, you mentioned something, I'm not sure the exact words, but you were talking about the Triple Crown, the Kentucky Derby, how I believe some of the races were canceled or we're not going to have a Triple Crown basically this year, you were saying?
Right.
How does that affect you, and how does that affect you when it comes to betting and just overall in general? Because you're huge with horses. Like, that's your thing. You were talking about that before you got here, how horses and handicapping is your thing. Right. How does that affect you, and does it upset you more than anything, knowing what's going to happen there?
Well, I was a little upset that the Belmont Stakes wasn't moved in the beginning, but now I'm starting to see the way the field and, everything is starting to get structured properly. So I think Belmont did make the right decision, but I don't feel it's a true Triple Crown because, everything is completed in horse racing with this Triple Crown by June. The first week in June. Now you're extending it all the way to September. You're not running that true test. Think about it. Horses, like, if they had a conscience, like, Secretariat, American Pharaoh, hey, I won all these races in 5 weeks and capped it off at 1.5 miles in the Belmont Stakes. Now you don't have that. The Belmont Stakes is run at a different distance. It's before the Kentucky Derby, correct. It's 1 1/8 miles. Then you have the Kentucky Derby. Then you have the Preakness. So it's a little out of order, and I think it tarnishes the accomplishment. Something similar to a strike-shortened season, where certain people think, oh, well, in 94, when who's the batting champion? Who should have went to the playoffs? Even the 81 season, we're Dodger fans here, with Fernando and all that. That was a strike-shortened season. So, a lot of people tarnish those things, put an asterisk, what have you. I think it, the credibility comes down just a little bit.
So going back to the casino and the sportsbook, you guys are reopening up tomorrow.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of details on that time frame. What can people expect, whether it's the casino and the book in general?
Expect a lot of horse racing, because we had the mobile app up, and we have the sports. I brought several of our sheets that we are offering. Naturally, UFC has been taking off, but you're going to see a lot of horse racing, social distancing. I had to take out half the capacity in my racing sportsbook. Yes.
So what does a book look like now?
So what I do is, we have carols that have individual monitors.
Okay.
I have 60 of those. Now I only have 30 chairs, so I skip a chair in between each for proper social distancing,
Okay.
as well as we have the markings on the floor, on the carpet, 6 feet apart.
When they're waiting in line.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. We will be sanitizing similar to supermarkets. After each transaction, I will have my writers sanitizing the area. We will be sanitizing the money, actually. You know, we do have certain customers, believe it or not. One of my tellers, well, what happens when so-and-so walks up? He always licks his fingers before he touches his money.
That's true.
And I'm like, yeah, just spray the money down, sanitize it. I know that the 21 pit has to sanitize the chips. The cage, he'll be washing the chips every night. So,
Wow.
yeah, social distancing. We got tons of sanitizer pumps all over the walls in the sports book. Signs for social distancing.
Wow.
Thank God we're a smoke-free sports book,
Okay,
so that
that's
isn't, impeding anything. So that's very good. And we're right across from our fabulous buffet that we just built, and that's going to be an empty space.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
We do have a lot of space, but we do have to practice proper social distancing according to the gaming board.
Once again, this is Straight Bet Sports. I am your host, Jose V. You're listening to us on Guerilla Cross Radio. If you have not already done so, please download the app. Check out all the content that's on there, and also check out GuerillaCross.com. Trust me, you are not going to be disappointed. Now, Rob, we were talking to Dwayne before the show started, and you wanted to ask him a few things. Now, what did you want to ask Dwayne when it comes to the sports betting questions and things that you had about that?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's finally good to get in here.
Yeah, it's
in
good
the
to finally get
studio.
you on the mic.
Yeah, it's been a while that you've been doing this. So it's good to be on. One of the questions I have is, what's your take on the new esports, right? Because esports was kind of took over the world a little bit, during COVID-19 and all that, during the shutdown. And I go on Twitter all the time. So what's your take on that? What's your take on esports? I mean, did any books in town offer lines on esports at all, or is that just strictly online?
Yeah, no, I think the Circa was putting up lines. Actually, the Circa, I give them a lot of credit. Even though they're a competitor, Mike Palm does a great job with Derek Stevens, and yes, they were putting up certain esports, and I have to start paying attention. I tell you the truth, as a bookmaker, this is the wave of the future, guys.
Really?
I'm paying attention to it, and I'm getting a lot of vibe on this. So this is another betting option that could expand our betting menu. So as a bookmaker, yeah, we didn't take it at South Point, but I have to start paying attention because it's definitely the wave of the future.
So you think it'll be a big handle when you get it eventually overall?
I mean, we have an arena right at the Luxor.
Correct.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys from VEASAN, the younger kids that are producing the shows and stuff, are into it, and they were trying and school me a little bit on it because it's really new to a bookmaker when I focus in on NFL, college football, college baskets, all that. It's new. It's a new product. But there's a lot of information that you could gather on it. It's readily available. So it's like anything else. I always say you pay attention, you gather your information, and you always use your money management skills as well, because that's part of gambling. If you're looking to beat me, who's the bookmaker, you have to have those skills. But that was excellent that you brought up. Esports is the wave of the future.
I saw some people on Twitter calling themselves sharps. Sharps at esports.
Oh, there's so many.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sharps already on esports.
Sharps on esports already. I was just kind of blown away. I mean, I understand they got to bring in their clients and stuff like that, but to call yourself a sharp at esports is kind of, it takes it to a whole nother level. Another question I had too is, what are some new offerings that you have that you've never offered before? I know you brought some sheets here, sheets here today. What are some new offerings that you have at the Sportsbook that maybe have never been offered before?
You have the sheets. We're doing win totals, cross-team win totals. We're making lines on win totals for NFL teams. Like you said before, we have, I believe, Miami is 2 wins over the Jaguars, or 3.
See, those are interesting bets,
right?
Where you guys are, how do you? I don't mean to cut you off, but how are you guys going about saying, okay, we're gonna put the Jaguars and the Dolphins, or we're going to put the Ravens and the Niners, because that's going about who's going to have more wins, right?
Right. You want to make it
How are you guys going about that?
Well, you want to make it competitive. You don't want to have, Jaguars against, say, the Chiefs, where the Chiefs are definitely going to win, double digits in games this year, and the Jaguars are the lowest ranked team in the NFL. So you want to make it competitive, and you want to make it interesting. Plus, I want to take the teams that I have the greatest handle on. Okay. You're going to see a lot of 49ers. You're going to see a lot of Cowboys. This is what my property books a lot on. The Cleveland Browns. These are the teams, the Chicago Bears. What's going to happen with Trubisky? What's going to happen with all that? So those are the teams that I'm looking to put on that sheet. And then I have to make, a concise decision and make, a good matchup. I don't want it to be lopsided to where I feel that I'm just going to get pounded 80-20, 80% money on one side and can't get any buybacks. So
how correlated those are those to like the actual season win totals for the teams individually?
Yeah, they're pretty correlated. Yeah, they're pretty accurate. Yes, you could compare because I did bring a win total sheet as well. Gotcha. So we are offering that. Also, a lot with NASCAR now, matchups, because South Point is a big NASCAR hub.
Matchups have been getting big. I remember when I worked in the book a few years ago, they weren't that big, but matchups were starting to get big. People were like, I don't want to bet on individual drivers anymore. I want to bet on these matchups. Right. And it's something that brings more to the table when it comes to betting.
Definitely, because think of how hard it is to win a NASCAR race and to pick that one guy. And usually, the way I set the lines.
How do you handicap that?
Well, that's right, exactly. And, the percentage is going to kill you every time because you're not going to get true odds and true value on a driver to win a 300-lap race.
Correct.
So definitely you bring up a great point. Matchups. Offer as much as possible. Same thing with golf. How hard is it to win a golf tournament? Tiger Woods a few years back, it was easy money. But now all these skilled athletes and players, they interchange each week, beating each other. So it's much easier to pick a matchup heads on, straight up, one opponent against another and handicap.
Now, coming out with all the stuff that you guys have to come out with now, because there's not much to bet on, but you have these win totals or things that you guys are creating, are you getting any pushback, whether it's from someone that you may work with or just maybe fans of sports betting that go to your casino? They're like, what are you coming up with these lines for? I'm not going to bet this. Or is it all positive?
Well, it's pretty much positive, Jose, I got to say, because people want to gamble. And if you offer a product and enhance a product, people are going to definitely buy into it. So as bookmakers, we're just doing our job. We want to offer the public as much as possible. There is no NFL. There is no NBA. There is no NHL right now. You have to have something to bet on. Baseball, it doesn't look like there's even going to be a season.
We'll talk about that here shortly.
It's interesting. That's a great question, but people are enjoying what we put up, especially the sharps. They're not diving right in, but they're watching and they're seeing, maybe Dwayne and Chris and Vinny will slip up or something.
So are these lines that you're putting together, or are you doing it with someone else?
No. Mostly Chris and Vinny and Jimmy do those.
Okay.
I mostly, I've been putting up some props. I've been working with Vinny Maiulo for the horse racing props, trainer to win the Triple Crown, horse to win the Triple Crown, certain propositions like that, win those races that we spoke of, the Belmont, the Derby. But, they call me for research, basically.
Okay.
I do the research and they formulate the lines.
So basically, you do the hard part. Let's be real. If they're just going to formulate the lines, you're the one that's studying.
I tell you the truth, Jose. I have every package. My dad sit right over there. He'll tell you I'm paying DirecTV about $300 a month just to watch all this crap.
All the channels, huh?
And it's my livelihood, so I love it. I say crap, facetiously. I love it. This is my life. I will watch any game. I just put it on. I can sit back. I can watch any NBA game. I'm a big NBA guy. NHL. Baseball, I'm like, because it's too long. I used to love baseball in the 70s and 80s. Now the games are just a little too long, but I still enjoy it. So I'm a big sports advocate. It's my life. So.
Now, going back to the opening, what are you expecting? Are you expecting a lot of people? Are you expecting a lot of money coming in? Do you expect the casino in general to just be packed?
I think that the Rampart has a local base, so I think we'll do very well. I feel that, I reached out to a lot of my customers, my top 100 customers, phone calls, text, email blasts. I think we're going to be off the hook. I have a lot of horse racing enthusiasts, but I really need a sport to start. I need the NHL or the NBA, set date, a concise format so we could start making lines and go from there. NBA is talking about July 31st. Anything could happen. You're talking about 2 months now. We're in first week of June. Who knows what's going to happen? Hopefully the NHL could get a tournament or something going here in Las Vegas. That would even bring in more handle. But, I really need some sports to start. You could only put up so much, like you said, and draw so much interest off of, sports like table tennis, Korean baseball. People want to see the superstars out there. People want to see LeBron James, Alex Ovechkin, Pat Mahomes.
This
is what we're talking about. Right. Clayton Kershaw or, Cole, whoever. They want to bet on professional sports, not sports that are overseas or, somewhat generic sports.
So what's the sport that you're looking forward to more than anything that is in the possibility of coming back and is not back yet?
That's a great question. It's a toss-up between the NHL and the NBA. I
Why?
love it. I'm an East Coast guy.
Okay.
I grew up with hockey. And now with the Golden Knights, I'm a season ticket holder. It's just amazing. And to see the energy and, I really miss that going to those games. And I'm going to be missing it for a while. So, I left a lasting impression. I love the NHL and the NBA. I just love the NBA. I mean, I'm one of the few. I'm the minority where, what do you like better, college hoops or the NBA? I love the NBA. I love the professional style of the sport. I like college, but, I just like seeing LeBron go off and Anthony Davis, seeing these teams, team up and really try to do what they do. It's great. And, I've been to the Garden a million times, seen Bernard King score 50, saw all my heroes there and on that ice as well, Ranger games. I'm a Montreal Canadian fan. Went to the Forum in Montreal. So
wait, you're not a Ranger fan?
No.
Wait,
Montreal.
Well, were we talking about the Rangers before we started? I'm a little confused. Pops is over here waving his hand or something. Oh, man.
I still have love for the Rangers, though.
He is Dwayne Colucci, the Racing Sportsbook manager now over at Rampart Casino, joining us here on Straight Bet Sports. I'm your host, Jose V. Once again, we are on Guerilla Cross Radio. Check us out every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. moving forward. Rob, appreciate you coming in, man, because we talk all the time, but you never wanted to hop behind the mic.
Yeah, I've been in the studio a few times with you. But yeah, this is the first time I've actually, kind of jumped on the mic, so I appreciate it. Like I said earlier, shout out to Josh, too, for, holding
Yeah,
down
man,
as a
Joshua
sponsor,
Lafond, big
being from the
sponsor.
clutch,
Definitely
personally
appreciate that.
myself, too, so, yeah.
Got my boy Joel in the background, helping us out with some videos and some pictures as well. Greatly appreciate that. Got to give everybody shout outs and props. Now, you brought a lot of papers with you.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about out of that stack? What do you feel is more important that you brought with you that we should talk about?
Hey, you're the host. Whatever you want to talk about.
I want to see what you got there.
You know what I have.
I want to see what's interesting.
What we have, definitely.
What conspiracy theories can we come up with, and what things can we look at and say, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. How is this going to work? What do you got there that you think is interesting? That
well,
we
the
can
major
look at
attraction is definitely this right here, the UFC Fight Night. Nunez versus Spencer this
How's
weekend.
the handle
so Handle has been off the hook.
There's been what, 4 events, right?
Yeah, it's been
Is
amazing.
this fourth, Quan?
This is gonna be the 5th. This is gonna be the fifth event.
Yeah.
And UFC is the top handle at the Rampart in South Point right now. NASCAR is running a close second, even out handling the golf. So, definitely UFC, we're looking for big handle. But I brought a lot of NFL futures. You know what the king is, what makes me all my money. The NFL by far. We have some really nice props. Here, NFL Rookie of the Year. This is a new offering that we have at the South Point and Rampart.
Okay.
We also have, naturally,
So
NFL
that's brand new. You guys didn't do that.
No, we didn't do that, I don't believe, last year. We had the MVP. We also had to take down, who will Tom Brady take his first snap with?
Really?
So, yeah, we took it down because naturally now it looks like Tampa, unless something really happens, he gets injured and doesn't play for 5 years or something. But, we had that up. We have the NFL championship, AFC, NFC, naturally. I brought the college championship. I'm a little leery, though, of really presenting and pushing this because college sports is probably the sports that will start the latest. Or I feel that probably college basketball next season will be the first college sports that we see in an arena. Maybe the SEC will play football this year, but I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I mean, you take the crowd out of Michigan, Ohio State, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of kids. Yeah. And now you're going to play in an empty stadium, only coaches, managers, equipment, stuff like that. Very difficult for college to get off the ground.
Huge.
What was that?
Yeah. Just the stadium. I mean, just having the home crowd there for you in college. I
feel
like
in
that's
general.
Huge. I feel like it plays a bigger part than in any professional sports. College, I feel like it's a huge factor.
Totally agree, and that definitely will get factored into line making. You can't just have generic sound. It's really not a home field. Okay, it's your grass, it's your turf, your naturally your insignia is in the end zone, but still, right, nobody is there. The support, the heart, it's not there. So we'll take that into the line making, but I'm leery about college football. I don't know if it's going to happen. I know the NFL will.
So I want to get into this segment, but before we do, do you think that college football can make it with no fans in the stands? Because we're talking about that right now. Do you think that they can make it?
There's going to be massive betting on it, Jose. I know that. My customers and the Sharps will definitely still bet on it. That's the whole
How's
thing.
that going to affect the betting?
I don't know about, how the colleges, that's how they generate a lot of revenue. And definitely TV will be very, very important because, the contracts with the Big Ten Network, SEC Network, Longhorn Network. We have several different networks now, even the ACC. I guess they will draw revenue from TV. But from a gambling standpoint, I don't think it'll affect my hand. Guys will be betting. They'll be lining up. They love it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Quan, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our first segment of the night. So, this segment is brought to you by pupperdupperstore.com. They sell natural dog toys, CBD treats, and best of all products are made in the USA. So, make sure that you check them out today at pupperdupperstore.com. Now, this is called the Dog of the Night. We're going to try to do this every show on every Wednesday. I'm either going to bring up a dog from a previous fight, a race, a game, whatever it might have been that I feel or that I saw that was a big dog of that night. So I'm going to go back to this past Saturday's fight with the UFC, and then I'll let you guys choose whether it's Dwayne, a future you might have for the NFL that you feel is a big dog that could come through at a good price. Rob, something that you might already have that you might already bet, because I know you like betting a lot of futures and stuff like that as well. We had that future in soccer, remember, a few years ago in the English Premier League, but couldn't get it through. But anyways, the dog of the night comes from the UFC Fight Night this past Saturday from Woodley and Burns. The dog that I see here that came through we had was, let's see, we did pull off, I think we had a +1. Here we go. +330 was the biggest dog of the night. Gabriel Green defeated Daniel Rodriguez, which is pretty interesting if you put +310 is not a bad bet at all.
No,
Sorry,
not
I was
at all. No,
fumbling
no.
my words there and everything messing up.
No.
But +310 is not a bad bet.
$10 gets 31.
Exactly. I like.
And you 10 back.
I don't know the ins and outs about UFC, but when it comes to betting, I like looking at dogs. I like taking chances. I'll look at the guy's record. I'll look at who, what they fought, what their streak is, things like that. And that's how I look at it when it comes to that part of the betting. Now, what do you like, or what did you see when it comes to your dog of the night, whether it's NFL futures or something that you've already bet on, Dwayne, whether it was recently coming up or in the past?
Well, dabbling in Kentucky Derby futures and bets like that, I have several long shot horses, and I'll be looking at a horse in the Belmont Stakes. Now, this is for the future. That'll be a real nice price. Todd Pletcher horse, Farmington Road. So keep your eye on that. I think he could definitely upset a horse like Charlatan, who will be the favorite, or Tiz the Law. They'll be co-favorites. Okay. But Charlatan, remember, is trained by Bob Baffert. He is the king of 3-year-olds.
Everybody Don't they call him the Prince of Horse Racing? Isn't that what his nickname was?
I tell you, I met him a few times. A real nice guy. Met him in Rayos in L.A., and actually my dad got him a table there. He was actually standing, waiting, and, we have some good hooks. We know the owners. So great guy. They'll be keeping their eye on his horse, but I'm going to take a long shot there, and I'm thinking like 15, 20 to 1 on this horse because that field is going to be stacked. For the NFL, I have a lot of sleepers that I'm looking at. I'm a Cowboy fan, so I never get true odds on them.
America's team, as we hear from everybody else.
And we still don't have Dak signed, so that's a big, drawback. So maybe if Dak isn't signed, the price will be really raised, and we got Red Rifle now, so who knows what's going to happen there.
I like that signing, by the way.
Yeah, it is a good signing because it's
smart.
A protection signing. In case, Dak doesn't want the money and he and Jerry can't see eye to eye, it is a good, solid signing. And, they have a high-powered offense. The offense is really good. Zeke is still there. Gallup is a beast. And, Amari. I mean, they have a real good offense. So, the Cowboys definitely but you have to watch the market. I mean, there might not be value. Also, I'm looking at now the NHL with the possibility of starting back up. We were talking about the New York Rangers. Fabulous goaltender.
Yeah, you guys were talking about that earlier.
Yes, and definitely they have a chance. But I'm going to stick with the Philadelphia Flyers. They were playing. Oh, my God, how good they were playing. They were the team that between them and the Colorado Avalanche, I would say those were the teams hurt the most by the stoppage of play.
Because they were just hot at that point.
Yeah,
they were
just
doing
playing
good.
Lights out, and they were ready and geared up for a nice playoff drive. Granted, still the Golden Knights and St. Louis were on the west side. Colorado had to overcome that. But Colorado laid some beatings on the Golden Knights this year, and they were starting to get healthy. Yeah. The whole key with the NHL is being healthy at the right time. And now, certain big-name players Like the Pittsburgh Penguins, Jake Gensel, he was supposed to be out for the season. He's going to play in the playoffs now. So you have to pay attention. Same thing with the Rangers. Chris Kreider broke his foot. Now it's healthy. So you could get 60 to 70 to 1 on the Rangers. Montreal Canadiens getting healthy. Carey Price, Shea Weber, 120 to 1. These are possible upsets.
120 to 1.
Yes, you have to play the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round, but, Pittsburgh is already voicing displeasure. Why do we have to play against the best goaltender in the NHL, and they weren't even going to make the playoffs?
Because of the format?
Right, exactly. So, you have to pay attention. You could always find a dog in an upset.
Do you think if they make, because I don't think they've made this decision yet on the hub cities. They have some that are possible, right? But they haven't made the actual confirmation on where is it going to be.
Correct.
When it comes to sports betting, do you believe that if we have the NHL here as a hub for what they're going to do in the playoffs, do you think that'll help the handle? Do you think that'll help betting in general?
Yes, definitely. Once the Golden Knights start to play, it's amazing. And just if we could get it here and we have the facilities, think about it. You could play playoff games without fans in City National. We have the Orleans Arena, naturally T-Mobile. So you do have Thomas and Mack.
Correct.
You could be playing 4 series at a time here with no stoppage. So, and the hotel rooms, we have the accommodations, and definitely I'm looking for that handle. I hope Las Vegas gets it.
You want to make sure you get them people coming
I was hoping they got the NBA too. I want it all.
That was a little disheartening knowing that they're not going to get it here, but
yeah.
I hope that Vegas gets to be one of the hub cities for the NHL. I think that would be great. Like you said, we have all the resources here possible for them to do it right, so I don't see why not. Rob, what do you got for us?
Well, kind of stole my thunder a little bit.
He stole it.
I like the Rangers. He said they're offering it at 60 to 1.
60 to 1.
60 to 1 at the odds. Yeah, I'm a Kings fan, so obviously we're not in the discussion. So if I was gonna pick someone to kind of take off, they're healthy now, like you mentioned. I feel like at 60 to 1, that's a good shot. I feel like that's to put some money down on them to maybe sneak. I feel like all these sports, it's up for grabs now. They say the Lakers are a sneak in, or I'm not a sneak in, a shoe in for the finals and stuff like that. I feel like everything is up for grabs if they go with this playoff format because it's never been seen before. So, look out for some dogs. Put some money, spread your money around because I feel like it's not going to be who everybody thinks it's going to be. Yeah, they may want to put, they may want LeBron in the finals, but they also want to see Zion in the playoffs as well too. So, a playoff without Zion is not a good, the NBA wants that. So, but yeah, definitely the Rangers to possibly steal the NHL, the Stanley Cup this year. That'd be mine. Other than the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Rob,
I know Quan likes to hear that. He's a Niner fan
with
too.
The Rangers, they went on like a streak where they won like 12 games in a row on the road. So I'll add them to the teams that they were hurt by the stoppage of play as well. Panarin was on fire. I mean, Mika Zibanejad is probably going to be the best player in the NHL. I'd give it about another year and a half. Guy is a monster. Look at his stats. Look at the games played this year.
Okay.
So definitely, I give credit to Rob on that pick. That's
going to be 40 to 1.
Good.
When I go
No,
bet it now.
I won't.
He's going to be the shark that moves the line.
After everything, yeah. After I get my pick, I'm going to go get it tomorrow.
Wow, man. Once
My
again,
dad might have the mobile app.
You might have. You can bet it.
I got to get it in now.
Slide it over real quick. Once again, I am Jose V. This is Straight Bet Sports on Guerilla Cross Radio Network. All right, guys. So before we finish up, we still got about 15 minutes here or so to go. I wanted to talk about 2 topics. Some of the leagues are coming back up. Obviously, I wanted to get both of your thoughts. We were talking about this shortly before it came out. Now, going to go ahead and read this off a little bit from Adrian Wojciechowski that came out earlier today. The NBA Board of Governors intends to approve a league proposal on a 22-team format to restart the season in Orlando. Sources told ESPN the conference call and vote is set for 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Now, Commissioner Adam Silver and the league's Advisory Finance Committee have shared the board details of a plan with teams to play at Walt Disney Resort. The plan includes 13 Western Conference teams and 9 Eastern Conference teams, 8 regular season games, a possible play-in tournament for the 8th seed, and playoffs, sources said. Now, there's going to be 16 teams that are going to be combined from the East and the West, and then you have 6 teams that are going to be coming in kind of like a wild card. So we're going to have Sacramento, Portland, San Antonio, Phoenix, Washington, and obviously the team that they want in there, New Orleans. Now, I like the idea. I like the fact that they're coming back. I think you're probably going to get a little pushback here and there, obviously, like you do anytime that something like this happens, any type of change. But I like it. I think it could work. I like the fact that they're doing some type of small little 8-game season or whatever it is, because you're not complicating it too much overall. You're making it simple and easy. You know where you're gonna go. I like where they're doing it at Walt Disney, because kind of like you're talking about here in Vegas. Right. Everything is there for them.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's a great move. I think it's a good idea. I know it's just sources and things like that. I mean, hopefully it gets voted on and it passes tomorrow. But what are your thoughts on the NBA and the actual proposed plan that they have to come back?
It's not bad. Like you said, it definitely isn't bad. And look at the teams we're adding. Like you said, now you're adding Zion. You get him into the mix. You get Damian Lillard into the mix. Mm-hmm. Guess who's going to be playing? John Wall. Believe it or not, John Wall is coming back to play basketball. The Wizards will be the 9th team in. I'm looking right now at the Eastern Conference. So, you're bringing these names back into the mix. They'll play the 8 games, like you said. They'll have to draw in, but definitely it's exciting. Everybody wants to see how the Lakers are going to play out the rest of the season against the Clippers. We're all clamoring to see that, seeing if Giannis is up to the test from the East. You got some good teams. The Celtics were really playing well before the lights went out, and they're a dangerous, dangerous team. A great, great head coach.
They were actually my pick to win the finals, by the way.
Yeah,
before the season started.
They were playing well. The Pacers now, maybe they could get, Oladipo back into the mix.
Vic, yep.
Get on the right page. So you have to look for these sleepers, definitely. And there's a few of them out there, but I still think the Lakers. I'm a LeBron man. I'm the guy that's the minority. LeBron is the best player ever. I mean, I've seen Michael Jordan play in Madison Square Garden at his highest level.
Okay.
I think LeBron is the greatest athlete, or at least one of the greatest athletes I've ever witnessed play. And, I just think the game is so much different now. I mean, how could a guy like Jordan just say that LeBron couldn't compete in my era and other guys? Yeah. I mean, he is an amazing physical force. He would just put the ball on the ground, take it to the hole and get hammered every time. You know how frustrated Rodman, Lambeer, and those guys, they'd be punching him every play. He'd be taking it down the hole.
It was down
and it's like, LeBron's soft. Well, you don't think LeBron would have got agitated and get real hard playing against those guys? So
he would have fought back.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So I want to see the Lakers and the Clippers play. I want to see Giannis get in the mix. I want to see it. So I'm excited.
Before we get to Rob, you mentioned LeBron. The one thing that I think that's going to be, I think it's going to help LeBron more than anything. Look how hard he went in this season so far.
Yes.
The guy was playing point guard.
Yeah.
Better than most point guards play in the league.
Did he lead the NBA in assists?
I believe he was leading the NBA in assists as well. Good point.
Yes.
But his age, his body, his physicality, I think this break is perfect. I think it's exactly what he needed.
It's even better for Davis. Anthony Davis.
Yes, because he was going through the injuries.
Right. He's the guy that's always the injured player. So you start to get him healthy. Mm-hmm. That's the whole key. That's why I also said the Pacers, because Oladipo wasn't fitting in. He was like the odd man out, and now you could get him a little healthy.
Before he was hurt, he was becoming the guy.
Correct.
He was showing that he was legit.
Yes.
I liked him with Indiana, right? I liked him when he was at Indiana.
Yes.
I mean, the guy is a baller.
Right.
I'm glad he's back. But yeah, all the guys that were out with these injuries, I think those are the ones that are going to benefit especially the superstars that were out with
76ers.
these injuries.
Tons of injuries. Simmons was hurt. Embiid constantly banged up.
But Embiid's always, he's always going back to Kansas. He's always had those issues, man.
Sat out 2 years, I think. Then you're right.
Something like
back
that.
Injury. Yeah, that back injury was brutal.
Killer. So what you got, Rob?
Well, I mean, I'm not really a big NBA fan, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big college person when it comes to basketball and football.
March Madness.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm more interested in seeing how these new rules kind of play out. We were discussing them a little bit earlier, where maybe a player can get like a 7th foul.
Yeah, you were mentioning.
Right. They can ship in their own court. They can ship in their own court. If they're the higher seed and stuff like that. The experimenting on this type of thing. How is this going to affect the NBA next year? What are they going to take from it? What are they going to adapt? What
are they going to use it?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, are you really going to? I mean, you're testing out if a player can get a 7th foul. Like, you only try that out. You're only trying that out if you're trying to keep it maybe onto next year or just something. Some type of adaptation from that. But these new rules and stuff like that are super interesting. But like both of you said all night, I'm just excited to have sports back. I feel like NBA, I mean, I don't want to change the subject or anything, but I feel like MLB dropped the ball a little bit.
We'll get into that right now, too.
Yeah, I feel like MLB dropped the ball a little bit when it comes to the big picture of things, but I'm excited to have it back. Playoffs pretty much from the beginning, at least from the NBA and NHL. So
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to MLB. So this one we were just talking about.
Already.
So MLB rejects the 114-game plan, which I don't know why. So Major League Baseball has rejected the players' offer for a 114-game regular season with no additional salary cuts and told the union that it does not plan to make a counter proposal. Now, I don't know why, but you still have enough time to bring this season back and do it right. I understand that you lost spring training.
Right.
You lost opening day. But you said it earlier. Baseball's long. It's a long season. You can cut it down a little. You can figure something out.
Yeah.
So why reject it? Why reject it at this point? Now, with this rejection, if you want my honest opinion, I don't see us having baseball this season. I see them just saying, you know what, we're going to cut it out. There was already a problem with the salaries when they rejected it the other day, when higher players were going to get cut more than the lower players. So with all of that being said and them going back and forth and not agreeing with this, I don't see a season happening. I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen and it doesn't come out and when we don't have a season. But it's disheartening, knowing that you have leagues like the NBA that's making plans to come back. When you have leagues like the NHL making plans. When you have European soccer leagues that already have came back and are doing good without fans or anything else. They're testing, doing the right thing. Dana White stepping up, doing what he did with UFC. Why aren't we coming to an agreement here, man, MLB? You see what I'm saying? So
it's always the owners, Jose. That's the way I look at it. The owners started the huge salaries. You have a guy out there making $300 million in Mike Trout. I mean, how much could the team possibly be worth with a man that has this contract and must be paid? For God's sake, Bobby Bonilla is still collecting off of the Mets.
1.5 or
every
something.
July.
Yeah,
And he's got like
Bobby
15
Bonilla
more
Day.
years. So the owners now, they want to like prorate. They actually put in a decent offer for the 114 games. But these guys are making so much money and they figure, well, now you cut our training in half. We have to actually now slide into the season. We might not be healthy, physically right. So why play, a proportion season where it'll be like season playoffs, then just a slight rest and back into a full season? I think the players really don't want it. I don't see them wanting to play this shortened season. I think that it's either 162 games in their mind
or nothing.
That's it. Right, and I think they're taking a stand. I think when Max Scherzer made that statement last week on Twitter, that was basically the end of it. I don't think they're really going to negotiate. It's either they get paid their full salary for whatever they play or they don't want it. And you do have a lot of the owners, I believe they told the AAA teams, go home. We're not paying you. It's over. So minor league baseball has been,
I feel like single A is dead.
Yeah,
right,
I don't think single A, possibly double
A. They were talking
double
about
A may start up again, but I feel like single A is dead. I don't think it's ever going to come back. I mean, do you really need three divisions?
At this point, they're not going to need that many
before you even get to the major
we
leagues.
just got the Aviators. I mean, they were huge.
And they were talking about bringing the A's eventually down the road. I mean, now it's going to be tough. Like, are the Aviators going to make it? Right. We're waiting on the USL to come back. I know it's a smaller league, but still, the lights.
Yeah.
It's just it's crazy times, man. In general, that when sports went away, I've said this before. I feel like I got robbed.
Right.
I feel like a thief came in, put a bag over my head, and said, "Ha ha, I'm taking this from you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love sports. Sports is what I love. Sports is what I like to do. Sports is what I like to talk about, and it's tough right now.
Yeah.
A good friend of ours, Nick Hamilton, I had him on my show before I started doing it here on Guerilla Cross, and he said, everybody that does media right now, this is where it's going to prove what you're about, what you can bring to the table, what type of content can you create. Now, I know all of the content's not going to be great out there, but we got to try to do what we can to bring what we can. But it's tough when things like this happen.
I'm so glad you said that because it's the same thing in my industry, providing content. You have to provide. That's like you asking, what new could you put up? We have to get innovative. We have to think of things that we could put up as bookmakers. And like you said, you have to create content, whether it's UFC, we got to start talking about. You have to start talking about table tennis, anything, tennis. You have to bring that into the mix. And there's nothing that replaces knowledge. That's how it goes, and you just follow it. You pay attention, absorb all the information that's out there and what you could grab, and you have your content, you have your lines, you have everything.
Well, this has been fun tonight. Hopefully we can do it again, Dwayne. I greatly appreciate you coming to the studio and hanging out with us. This has been an episode of Straight Bet Sports with me, your host, Jose V. Rob G in the building, Dwayne Colucci as well. Quan59 behind the big board, Joel B in the background, hooking us up with pictures and video as well. Now, Dwayne, before we finish up, before I let you go, where can the people find you on all things social media, and what do you have going on?
Yes, I am on Twitter at New York Bookie Dwayne, NY Bookie Dwayne, DUANE. Yes.
Love it.
Well, my roots, that's my Twitter handle. You can find me as well. I'm on Facebook. And, I provide a lot of content. I do put out the lines, as they come out for the NFL each week on my Twitter handle.
Okay.
And a lot of good talk, a lot of horse racing information on my handle, information about the Rampart Casino, all the phases of opening that we will go through.
Nice. Okay.
All the sheets that we provide. As soon as we put out the NFL lines on a Monday morning, I will tweet out that sheet, as well as the college lines, all new sheets. I've been tweeting out, the UFC lines and what we have currently.
Okay.
And, it's a lot of fun. I like social media, but you have to control yourself. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Be smart. Think before you tweet, write anything, text anything. Just think. That's all we need. And we could be a great world if there's a little thought process.
Okay.
That's it.
Or like Quan would say, not modelo wild, as I would like to do it sometimes on social media. But yeah, man, this was fun. I greatly appreciate you, Dwayne. Definitely.
Thank you.
Anybody that has anything to do with sports betting or especially horse racing, check my man out. He'll definitely give you the right tips and tricks to make your money and do it right. Rob, anything else you want to say before we close up as well?
No, I appreciate you having me. Like I said a few times already, I appreciate you having me. And, hopefully we can do it again soon. If you're going to be doing this every Wednesday, maybe I'll jump on with you time to time.
Cool.
Give you my, let you know how sports going at that time. See what we can talk about. Chop it up, of course, like we do anyways.
Like we do all the time.
Like we do anyways.
Picks. Give us some sharp picks. I know you want to get some of our money at the Rampart.
Is there any promos for signing up for the app? Because I don't have the Rampart app right now. I have William and Hill.
If I deposit some money, do I get some back?
We were given $25 in free slot play.
Okay.
Right now, currently, we weren't doing sign up. You guys, yes, you know that. You have the hook.
Appreciate you. Yeah,
definitely.
of course.
Come down. Check out definitely our cafe. We won't have the buffet.
Got it. You're right. You said that, yeah.
Because of the social distancing. We will have the cafe and the deli open, so you guys are more than welcome. The whole crew here. Come down, see me. I'm behind the counter. I run the show at the Rampart, Race at Sportsbook. We have a fabulous video wall there. It's off the hook, guys, so come and see me.
Yeah, if you haven't been there, check it out.
Invite.
I've definitely been there. It's a spot to be at. So we're going to go ahead and close up now. I just want to go ahead and close up with my final thought of the night. Real quick, real easy, real simple. Tough times we're all living in right now with the situations that are going on in our country. But seeing people overseas in New Zealand and other countries protesting and doing it right as well shows that it's not just here in the U.S. So remember, people, none of us are black, white, orange, Hispanic, Mexican, Asian. We are all one. We are a human race, and we should be one and stand with each other, walk with your neighbor, walk with your coworker, walk with your friend. Be peaceful and do it right. I am Jose V. This is Straight Bet Sports on Guerilla Cross Radio. We will be back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. West Coast time. I'm out.